resultant elementals. Ninth session on heat. Most of the sessions were very short sessions. Resultant elementals are that category of elemental which are the end results of a psychological event, a psychological process. So if I have a desire, let us say I'm sitting on my chair doing this recording. After some time, I develop a desire for a cup of tea. The desire is activated. When the desire is activated, it is a desire for nutrition and pleasure, and based upon the activation, affinity is deposited on the solar plexus, on the root chakra, partly on the sex chakra, and then the faculty elementals are used, the thinking part is used how to satisfy the desire. Then the action happens and I have a cup of tea, and after that action is over, there is a desire, there is a psychological process after desire activation, then there is action, and then as a result of the action, there is satisfaction or dissatisfaction of desire. And in that end phase, certain effects are generated, and resultant elementals pertain to those effects. So these are those effects which are generated at the end of the psychological process. To revise all that we had said about elementals, we can divide all elementals into two: structural elementals, three structural elementals, functional elementals or process elementals, and freedom elementals. And the process elementals or the functional elementals we can divide further into motivational, generic operational, faculty, characteristic, resultant, and accumulative. In this session, we will see what are the resultant elementals. These are the elementals which come into action after the action is over, or after the psychological process is over in terms of action, either in the outer world or in the inner world. And we all know ultimately everything boils down to pleasure or pain. So there are resultant elementals is related to the end part of any psychological process. So let us look at what they are. At the end of any psychological process, we can experience satisfaction or frustration, either satisfaction or non-satisfaction. If we experience non-satisfaction, then we experience frustration, we experience anger, we experience pain, we experience fear, at times we also experience shame. So when a desire is not satisfied, we can experience this multiplicity of effects, this multiplicity of experiences, this multiplicity of elementals start coming into play. We can also have, at the end of any process, development of sadism satisfaction of sadistic nature. Let me not say development of sadism, let me say satisfaction of sadistic nature, satisfaction of masochistic nature, pain of rejection, a feeling of rejection, some other emotional pain, a feeling of envy, a feeling of guilt, a feeling of narcissistic injury, or a feeling of shame. There can be many others. I have just noted down a few here to put across the point that at the end of a psychological process, which may result in action in the outer world or in the inner world, or it may also result in non-action in the outer or the inner world. Whatever be the situation, at the end of a psychological process, which starts with desire activation and moves towards action, and after action we have the resultant elementals coming into play, and these are the entities which come into play in the last phase or second last phase of the experience cycle. Entities like satisfaction, frustration, anger, sadistic satisfaction, masochistic satisfaction. There can be many more. So these are the elementals that become active and you experience them. And obviously it is for these elementals that the whole psychological process takes place. This is the goal, the result towards which we want to move. This is something we want to experience. The positive parts of it we want to experience, and the negative entities in this list we want to avoid at any cost. And that is something that leads to so much of pathology. The positive part is pleasant to experience, but the negative part is not pleasant. And in avoidance of that negative part, we see the operation of defenses, diversions, all sorts of things. So this is like the goal state of the process of desire. This is the goal state. So these elementals are called the resultant elementals. Thank you.